Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We have got something really different on the table today.
We do.
Usually we are tearing apart complex tech specs or geopolitical manifestos, maybe heavy academic research papers.
Yeah.
But today,
Today is different.
I'm holding a PDF that looks, at a first glance, completely invisible. It is titled The Essential Alignment, a Service Manual for Maintenance.
It sounds incredibly dry. I mean, it sounds like instructions for calibrating a boiler or maybe fixing the transmission on a 1990s sedan.
That is exactly what I thought. I opened it expecting to see safety warnings, diagrams of mops, maybe a list of approved chemicals.
Right, the usual stuff.
But once you actually start reading, and this is why I love doing this, you realize this isn't a manual for cleaning. It is a manifesto on environmental psychology disguised as a checklist.
It really is. It's so rare to find a corporate document, especially in the service industry, that tries to bridge that gap between sanitation and, well, spirituality. But this text, The Essential Alignment, it makes a very bold argument. It argues that the state of your home is strictly tied to the state of your mind.
So our mission today is to decode this thing. We aren't here to learn how to dust a shelf. If you want that, you can go to YouTube.
We're going a little deeper.
We are here to understand the philosophy of what they call intentional simplicity that drives this whole manual. We want to see how they reframe a chore, something we all dread, into what they call a ritual of restoration.
And that phrase, ritual of restoration, that's the anchor for everything we're going to discuss. It's the lens through which we have to read this whole thing.
Okay, so let's start with that core philosophy. The document opens with this concept of intentional simplicity. It says the goal isn't just to tidy up, but to, and I'm quoting here, reveal the inherent calm of a home.
And remove the layers of daily friction.
Yes. That word friction, it really jumped out at me.
It's a very specific engineering term applied to a living space. In physics, friction is, the resistance that one surface or object encounters when moving over another.
So in a home, friction is the mental load you experience when things just aren't right.
Exactly.
It's the shoes you trip over in the hallway.
Right.
It's the pile of mail you have to physically move just to put your coffee mug down.
Yes. Every time you have to adjust your behavior because of a mess, that's a microstoppage, it's drag. This manual argues that a messy home isn't just ugly, it's actively resisting you. It's fighting your attempts to relax. So the goal of cleaning isn't to make it pretty, it's to remove the drag so you can glide through your day.
That is such a powerful reframe. And the language they use to combat this friction is just fascinating. They don't talk about bleach or elbow grease. They talk about sanctuary, mindful presence, and this is the one I want to really dig into, visual noise.
Visual noise, yeah, that's a concept that's gaining a lot of traction in design and psychology circles right now.
Tell me about it.
Your brain is constantly processing input, whether you realize it or not. If you walk into a room and there are 6 remote controls, a tangle of wires, a stack of magazines, and a layer of dust, your brain has to process all of those individual items. It's loud to your eyes.
It's like trying to have a conversation in a crowded bar, but for your vision.
Precisely. It creates a low-level background stress.
Yeah.
So when this manual talks about the cleaning team entering with mindful presence, they aren't just trying to be polite.
They're trying to lower the volume of the house.
Exactly.
And the text contrasts this with the usual approach to cleaning, which is just transactional. Usually the mindset is speed, efficiency, get the dirt out, move on. But mindful presence implies they are assessing the energetic weight of the room. They explicitly promise a transition from clutter to clarity.
That transition, clutter to clarity, is the product. That's what they're selling.
It is. And they couple it with quiet efficiency. They emphasize honoring the homeowner's privacy. This is crucial because for a home to be a sanctuary, you cannot feel invaded. If the cleaner leaves the house smelling like industrial chemicals and looking tossed, it's clean, sure, but it's not peaceful. This manual is aiming for that ritual of restoration.
Let's parse that phrase again. Ritual of restoration.
Yeah.
If you view cleaning as maintenance, you are fighting a losing battle against entropy. You clean, it gets dirty, you clean again, it feels futile. That's why we hate chores.
It's Sisyphus pushing the rock up the hill, only the rock is a basket of laundry.
Right. But a ritual has intention. A ritual is done to achieve a state of being. And restoration implies that the good version of your home is always there, underneath the mess.
What?
You aren't forcing the house to be clean.
You are peeling back the layers to reveal its natural state.
Yeah. It suggests the house wants to be clean.
In a poetic sense, yes. It shifts the dynamic from fighting dirt to saving the home.
I like that. It makes me feel a lot better about scrubbing the toilet.
Speaking of which, let's get into the practical application. The manual breaks the house down into zones. Zone 1 is general living areas and bedrooms.
This is the public face of the home, and of course, the place where we rest.
The first task listed here is surprisingly specific. It's called the view outward. It describes touching up glass on entry doors and interior windows. But the why is what matters. It says the goal is to remove fingerprints and pet prints, to let the natural light flow uninterrupted.
Okay, think about that friction concept again. Windows are our connection to the outside world.
Right.
If there's a smudge, a streak, or a nose print from the dog, your eye stops at the glass. You are contained. By removing that smudge, the barrier disappears.
You aren't looking at the window anymore. You're looking through it.
It dissolves the boundary, and it maximizes the intake of natural light, which we know regulates mood and circadian rhythms. So they aren't just cleaning glass, they are optimizing the light intake of the sanctuary.
Okay, then we move to surfaces in sanctuary. This covers dusting furniture, shelves, frames. The expert note here is allowing the textures of your home to shine.
This is a subtle but really important point about perception. Dust is uniform. It's gray, flat, fuzzy. When a room is dusty, everything looks the same.
It lowers the contrast of the room.
Exactly. It dampens it. When you remove the dust, the wood grain pops. The metal shines. The fabric looks distinct. You are restoring the material reality of your objects. You're allowing the home to have depth again.
Next is mindful touch points. Sanitizing handles, switches, and remotes. The manual says this is to ensure the environment feels safe as it does serene.
This bridges the gap between hygiene and anxiety. We've all become hyper-aware of surfaces in the last few years.
Yeah.
If you reach for a light switch and it feels sticky, or if a remote control has that grimy film,
Instant recoil.
that recoil is a stress response. It tells your reptile brain this is not safe. You cannot relax in a place where you are subconsciously afraid to touch things. By sanitizing these high-touch areas, they are removing that micro-fear.
Now, here's the term that I think is the most insightful takeaway from this section. Electronic clarity.
Yes. This is unique to modern cleaning guides.
It talks about tending to dust on screens and cords, but it describes the goal as softening the visual noise of technology.
We touched on visual noise earlier, but technology is the biggest offender. A black TV screen attracts dust electrostatically. Wires tend to tangle. It looks chaotic. But more importantly, those screens represent work, news, entertainment, distraction.
They're portals to the outside chaos.
Exactly. When they are dusty or messy, they look neglected. A dusty computer screen screams overwhelmed workspace. By cleaning the screen and organizing the cords, by softening that noise, you are putting the technology back in its place. You are telling the room, I control the machines don't control me.
It's dampening the digital signal when the device is off. I love that. Moving on to reflection and grounding. Mirrors are polished to streak-free clarity, but I want to focus on the floors. The manual calls vacuuming and mopping grounding, creating a clean path for you to walk upon.
Think about how you walk on a dirty floor. If there are crumbs, or if it's sticky, or if there are Lego bricks everywhere, you look down, you step carefully, you tiptoe.
You walk timidly in your own house.
But a clean, vacuumed floor, you stride, you don't look down. That phrase, a clean path for you to walk upon, acknowledges that the homeowner is a moving entity. It invites confident movement. It literally grounds you because you don't have to worry about where your feet are landing. You can look up.
And finally, for zone 1, final grace notes.
Yeah.
Emptying trash, straightening pillows, folding throws.
This is inviting a sense of order. It's the difference between clean and ready. A room can be clean, but still look chaotic. Straightening the pillows signals that the room is prepared for human occupation. It's an invitation to sit down.
Let's move to the engine room. Zone 2, kitchen care.
The high entropy zone. This is where the mess happens fastest.
The manual calls the first step culinary clarity. Polishing the window over the sink and glass cabinets to keep focal points bright.
In a workspace, which the kitchen is lighting, is critical for focus. But also, if you have glass cabinets, you're putting your supplies on display. If the glass is foggy, it feels like the inventory is dirty. Clarity here suggests efficiency.
Then we have the countertop reset, clearing and sanitizing surfaces. The imagery here is lovely, creating a wide open space for your next meal or a quiet cup of tea.
This is pure storytelling, and it's brilliant. They aren't selling a clean counter, they are selling the potential of the counter.
Potential.
A cluttered counter is occupied by the past yesterday's mail, this morning's dishes. A clear counter is a stage waiting for the future. By clearing it, you're creating space for that quiet cup of tea to actually happen.
Right.
If there's no space, you won't make the tea. You won't have the moment. The clutter literally steals the experience from you.
That's a really profound way to look at doing the dishes. You're buying yourself a future moment of peace.
You are.
Next is appliance exterior. Wiping down the fridge, oven, dishwasher. The goal is to reflect a kitchen in perfect balance.
Appliances are big, heavy visual blocks. They anchor the room. If a stainless steel fridge is covered in streaks, it looks heavy and chaotic. It throws off the visual weight of the room. Cleaning them restores the balance so the room doesn't feel top-heavy with grime.
Then the heart of the home. Cleaning the microwave and stovetop, restoring them to a pristine state.
Again, restoring, resetting the clock on the wear and tear.
And then my favorite poetic flourish in the document, the flow of water.
The sink and faucet.
It says the sink is scrubbed and the faucet is polished to a soft glow.
Note the adjective soft, not blinding, not industrial. Soft.
Why does that matter?
Because the kitchen can feel very clinical if you aren't careful. A soft glow implies warmth. And referring to it as the flow of water elevates the sink from a basin for dirty dishes to a source of life. It sounds a bit woo-woo, but water is how we sustain ourselves. Treating the fixture that delivers it with respect changes how you interact with it. It turns a utility into a feature.
It really does. It makes you want to treat your sink better.
Okay, let's head to the final zone. Zone 3, bathroom sanitation.
The most private and arguably the most vulnerable space in the house.
They start with luminous reflections, polishing mirrors and shower glass to remove the haze of daily use.
Haze is the perfect word. We start our day in the bathroom. We look in the mirror to see who we are that morning. If you are looking through toothpaste splatters and steam streaks, you are literally seeing a distorted version of yourself.
It's a literal and metaphorical haze.
Right. Clarity in the bathroom mirror sets the tone for self-perception for the rest of the day.
Deep. That is deep.
Maybe a little too deep for bathroom mirror, but the metaphor holds up.
Then we have the ritual space. Scrubbing shower walls and floors. The manual compares the morning routine to a spa experience.
That's the aspiration, isn't it? We all want our bathrooms to be spas. But what defines a spa? Minimalism and extreme cleanliness. You cannot have a meditative shower if you're staring at mildew on the grout.
By calling it the ritual space, they are acknowledging that the shower is a transition point. It's where we wake up or wash off the day. It needs to be neutral ground.
Restorative care. Sanitizing the vanity, basin, and toilet. Ensuring the space is immaculately balanced.
Immaculately balanced. There's that word balance again. In a small room like a bathroom, clutter and dirt feel magnified. If a bathroom is messy, it feels claustrophobic very quickly. Balance is essential just to keep the room from feeling like it's closing in on you.
And finally, the foundation. Hand wiping or mopping the floors. And here's the phrase that stopped me in my tracks. Leaving the surfaces breathing.
Surfaces breathing. That is a fascinating choice of words.
What does that imply to you?
It implies that dirt is suffocating. It clogs the pores of the home. It suggests that the materials of your house, the tile, the wood, the stone, are alive in some sense. When they are covered in grime, they are deadened. When you clean them, you allow the room to inhale. It brings the house back to life. It ties back to that original concept of removing friction. A suffocating room creates friction. A breathing room creates flow.
So we've scrubbed every inch of the house.
Yeah.
The team's about to leave. But the manual has a specific protocol for the departure. They don't just pack up and go. It's called the Harmony Final Check.
This is the quality control step, but framed emotionally. They perform a visual scan. They walk through the sanctuary again, using that word, to ensure every glass surface is clear.
Right.
But the metric isn't just, is it clean? The metric is, does the room hold a sense of quiet invitation?
Quiet invitation.
Think about the difference between a museum and a home. A museum is clean, but it says do not touch. It pushes you away. This manual wants the home to pull you in. It should say, come sit here, come be safe here.
And they reiterate the promise. The home is left not just clean, but transformed into a space that truly holds you.
That personification again. The house holds you. It's a container for your life. If the container is broken or dirty, you feel insecure. If the container is strong and clean, you feel held. It frames the cleaning service as a form of emotional support.
Which leads us to the call to action. because even the contact us section is trying to maintain this spell.
It's very consistent branding, straight through to the end.
They offer two options. If you want to connect immediately, the button isn't book now or schedule. It is claim your piece.
Look at the agency there. Claim your piece. It frames the transaction as an act of self-empowerment. You are taking action to reclaim your mental state. You are the hero of the story, finally putting down the burden.
You aren't hiring a servant. You are claiming a right.
Exactly.
And the second option, if you want to take it slower, seek harmony.
Seek harmony. This is for the consultative approach. It frames the sales call not as a negotiation of rates, but as a mutual search for a better way of living. It's incredibly clever marketing, but also reinforces the core value proposition. We aren't selling cleaning. We are selling peace and harmony.
So let's zoom out. We've gone from chaos to consistent calm. We've analyzed why dust is visual noise and why mopping is grounding.
It's a masterclass in reframing the mundane.
What is the one thing the listeners should take away from this? Why should they care about a manual for a cleaning crew?
Because it validates the stress we feel in our own homes. The physical state of our environment directly impacts our mental state. We know this intuitively. We feel better in a clean room. But this document gives us the vocabulary to explain why.
It gives us the language to fight the guilt.
Exactly. When we talk about friction or visual noise, we are identifying specific neurological stressors. It says you aren't just lazy or messy, your environment is literally shouting at you, and that is exhausting. It separates the shame from the situation.
And conversely, it defines the target. We aren't aiming for clean for the sake of appearances. We are aiming for sanctuary. We are aiming for a space that lets us breathe.
Right. It teaches us that cleaning doesn't have to be a punishment for having made a mess. It can be a ritual of restoration. It's a favor you do for your future self.
That's where I want to land.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you never hire this specific service, you can steal this philosophy.
Absolutely. It's open source code for your home life.
You can choose to look at wiping down the kitchen counter, not as a chore, but as creating a wide open space for tomorrow morning's coffee.
You can view vacuuming not as drudgery, but as creating a clean path to walk on.
It shifts the focus from the dirt, which is negative, to the restoration, which is positive.
And that shift in perspective can change everything. It turns a mindless obligation into a mindful practice.
I think that's a perfect place to leave it. But before we go, I want to leave you, the listener, with a thought to mull over.
Go for it.
We've talked a lot about how this manual reframes cleaning for a service team. But what about you? If you viewed your own daily chores not as obligations, not as things you have to do, but as rituals of restoration designed to let your home breathe, how might that change the way you interact with your own living space?
That's the question. Is it a chore or is it a reset?
Maybe the laundry isn't just laundry. Maybe it's restoring the flow of comfort.
I like that. I might actually do my laundry tonight with that in mind.
Let us know if it works. Thanks for diving deep with us today.
Oh, it was a pleasure.
See you next time.